In the quiet, forgotten corners of Japan, there exists a belief, a truth, passed down through whispers. They say that when a person dies, consumed by a singular overwhelming emotion, be it rage or bitter sorrow or primal fear, something is left behind in the wake of their passing. It is not a ghost, not a memory, but something far more insidious. A stain. A psychic echo of pure hatred. It is born in the very place where that life was violently extinguished, and it does not rest. It lingers. It waits. And anyone who dares to cross its threshold, unwittingly becomes its new vessel. They carry it with them. This curse, this sickness of the soul, has a name. It is called JuOn, the Grudge. And its story is one from which no one ever truly wakes up. The origin of this curse lies with a woman named Kayako Saeki. To the outside world, she lived a simple, quiet life in a suburban Tokyo home with her husband, Takeo, and their young son, Toshio. But behind closed doors, a sickness festered. Takeo's mind became a prison of obsession and paranoia. He became convinced his wife was unfaithful. His jealousy curdled into a silent, seething violence. Then, on one unremarkable night, that violence erupted. In a fit of monstrous rage, Takeo turned on his own family. Kayako was savagely beaten to death within these walls. Her son, little Toshio, witnessed it all, and met the same fate. Even the family cat was not spared. The horror of that moment was so absolute, so profound, that it did not simply happen in the house. It seeped into it. Their terror, their agony, their final cries, were absorbed by the very wood, the paper, the air. In that house, on that night, the curse was not just born, it was baptized in innocent blood. What remained was no longer a haunted house in the traditional sense. Hauntings are echoes of the past. This was something alive and contagious. The house became infected, a breeding ground for spiritual malignancy. Its emptiness was a lie. It was full of the curse. To step inside was to be exposed. To breathe its air was to be inoculated with a fate worse than death. You would be marked, branded, and once marked, a connection was formed. A tether that could not be severed. You could flee the building, you could travel across oceans, but you could never, ever leave the curse behind. It was now a part of you. The authorities were the first outsiders to be drawn in. Responding to reports of disturbance, police officers entered the Saeki residence. What they found, or rather what they didn't find, defied logic. One officer, a veteran of the force, vanished without a trace within the maze-like hallways. No struggle, no cry for help. He was just gone. His partner was found later, catatonic, curled in a closet. His body was unharmed, but his mind was shattered. He could not speak of what he saw. He could only emit a rasping guttural sound from the back of his throat. The investigation was abruptly closed. The case was buried. But it was too late. The curse had tasted new fear, and it had already begun to spread beyond its point of origin. Years later, the house stands silent, a forgotten wound on the neighborhood. Karen Davis, an American caregiver working in Tokyo, is given a routine assignment. She is sent to check on an elderly woman, Mrs. Williams, who has stopped answering her phone. The address leads her to a house that feels wrong. Even in the muted daylight, it seems to swallow the sun. The garden is overgrown, the windows dark. With a growing sense of unease, Karen pushes open the front door. The air inside is thick, stale, and cold, a deep cold that has nothing to do with the weather. It's the cold of a tomb. She calls out. No answer.
Mrs. Williams?
Only the oppressive silence presses in on her. And then
Mrs.
from the
Williams?
shadow-shrouded ceiling above,
Is
comes a
anyone
faint,
here?
dry scratching sound. Exploring further, Karen freezes. In the gloom of an upstairs room, a small boy sits with his back to her. He is unnaturally still, pale as marble. She asks him his name. He slowly turns. His eyes are vast, dark pools. Empty. This is Toshio Saeki, the ghost of the boy who died there. He doesn't speak. He doesn't blink. He simply observes. A presence. A warning. And beside him, a shadow detaches itself and slinks across the floor, the form of a cat. But it makes no sound. Karen's breath hitches. This is not a lost child. This is a landmark. A signpost left by the curse. He is not here to interact. He is here to witness what happens next. As Karen stumbles back, a new sound begins. A wet, choking rattle, like drowning on dry land. It comes from the attic stairwell. Karen looks up. A figure emerges from the darkness. A woman, clad in a tattered white gown, her long black hair hanging like a curtain over her face. Her movements are broken, impossible, joints bending in wrong directions. She crawls down the stairs, not with her limbs, but through them, dragging herself in a horrifying spasmodic motion. This is Kayako, the source. Her very presence is a violation of physics, of life. That terrible death rattle grows louder with every jerking advance. She is not walking. She is unfolding. And she is coming for Karen. Karen escapes the house, but she has made a fatal error. She has taken the curse with her. And she is not alone. The curse that follows is not bound to a location. It is a virus, and its victims are its carriers. It follows them home. A businessman sees a pale face in his office window long after hours. A mother feels a cold hand under her child's bed. A woman showers, only to see Kayako's hair pouring from the showerhead. There is no pattern, no reason. It appears in broad daylight, in crowded spaces, in the sanctity of your own bedroom.
Oh God, no.
The curse uses the victim's own fear as a doorway. It feeds on it. And with every new victim, its reach grows. There is no safe distance. There is only, before you saw it, and after. Desperate, Karen seeks the truth. She digs through archived news reports, obscure police files, anything to understand Kayako's tragedy. She pieces together the story of the murder, of the broken family. She believes, with the stubborn hope of the living, that if she can understand the why, the human pain at the curse's core, she might find a way to break the cycle. To offer peace. She sits surrounded by documents and grainy photographs, the glow of a desk lamp her only comfort in the growing dark. But she fails to grasp the fundamental truth. The curse is no longer about Kayako's sorrow. That emotion has mutated. It has become a self-sustaining entity of pure, mindless hatred. It does not want peace. It does not want resolution. It only wants to replicate its own suffering, infinitely. As a last, desperate act, Karen returns to the source. If the house is the nest, then she will burn the nest. She sets the Saeki house ablaze. Fire, the classic purifier, erupts with terrifying fury. Flames roar into the night sky, consuming the wooden frames, the stained tatami, the memories held within. The heat is immense, washing over Karen's face as she watches from the street. The structure groans and collapses in on itself in a shower of sparks. For a beautiful, fleeting moment, standing in the orange glow, Karen feels a surge of hope. The weight seems to lift. The air feels cleaner. The nightmare, it seems, has been reduced to ashes. But curses are not made of wood and plaster. They are made of hate. And hate cannot be killed. As the embers smoke and the dawn approaches, a shape forms in the ruins. Unscathed. Unchanged. Kayako stands amidst the devastation, as solid as she ever was. The fire did not touch her because she was never part of the house. The house was part of her. Karen survives. But survival is not the same as escape. Survival means you are still a host. You carry the infection within you, a ticking clock. The curse has touched her soul. It has made its home in her future, and it will never, ever let her go. The story does not end with a victory. It ends with a sentence. The lot where the house stood remains empty. A scar on the earth. But the silence there is not peace. It is anticipation.
The curse is not gone. It is not defeated. It has merely dispersed. Hauntings are echoes of the past. This was something alive and contagious. The house became infected. It is always, always waiting for the next door to open.